In this episode, we will try and understand what Constitution is. Even before we actually get into what Constitution is, we need to understand another simple concept called as government. Now, this government is nothing but a simple system by which a state or a community is governed. Each one of us, you, I, all of us belong to a state or belong to a community, and all of us need to be governed. And this job of governing is done by the government. The government will have sovereign power, and then there will be rules through which it can exercise this sovereign power. Now there is one thing we need to understand here is there is somebody sitting above the government who gives or who sets the extent of the sovereign power whatever the government has and the manner in which the sovereign power will be executed. This is done by a supreme or fundamental law of that particular land. And this fundamental law of that particular land is nothing but the Constitution. Now let's once again reiterate. There is a system called as government. This system is by which a state or a community is governed. A government has sovereign power. A government can exercise the sovereign power. The extent of the sovereign power and the manner in which the sovereign power can be executed or exercised is given to the government by the supreme fundamental law of the land. And this supreme fundamental law of the land is nothing but the Constitution. Now we have a basic understanding of what Constitution is. Now we need to understand how the Constitution gets this power. Now that we have the basic understanding of what Constitution is, let's see how Constitution actually derives its power. The Constitution actually enjoys a special legal sanctity, and that is because it derives its power and authority from the people themselves. Now the constitution of a land is organic law, and it is organic because it sets the administrative structure of the country. It defines what a federal structure is, it defines what a state is, it defines what a local system is. Now the third and the most important point is the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Now what do I mean by supreme law of the land? All other laws are inferior to this. Whatever other laws, like all other laws are basically Constitution derives its power from the people, whereas the other laws will derive its power from or the legality from the legislature. Now supreme law, all other laws must conform with the Constitution, and if they do not conform with the Constitution, they can be declared null and void. And now we also know that there can be no law which will be beyond the Constitution. It cannot, no other laws can exceed the framework of the Constitution. This is the importance of a Constitution. Now let's reiterate the points again. The Constitution has special legal sanctity. That is because it derives its power from the people. The Constitution is organic law, which means it defines the administrative structure of the country. That is like, what federal means, what state means, what local means. And then the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. That means all other laws are inferior to Constitution. All other laws must and should conform with the Constitution, and if they fail to conform, they can be declared null and void. They can be definitely declared, if they do not conform, they can be declared null and void. And the Constitution no law can exceed the framework of the Constitution.